Hi guys, it's Alexandra here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to share with you my non-spoiler review of The Splendid and the Vile by Erik Larson. I'm going to use the same format I did last time, which is to start off by telling you a few things that I think are good and helpful to know, and then talking a little bit about what information or time frame that this book covers, and then sharing with you some things that I enjoyed, some things that I wish were different, and then giving you my overall rating and answering the question of would I recommend this book and who would I recommend it to. So let's get started. I do have my notes down here, as always. So a few good things to know about this particular book before you pick it up. First one, it's long. It is well over 400 pages. I actually think it's about 503 pages long. So if you're looking for something that is going to take a bit more time to read and that you can really read through slowly and process, this could be a great one for you. If you're looking for a quick read, I'm not sure that this book would fit your bill. There are other Erik Larson books that I think would fit the bill of quick reads much better than this one. The second thing that I think is good to know is that this is a very academic book. It is nonfiction, it is hefty, it is dense, it is chock full of great information about Churchill, his family, things that were going on in England. But if you're not looking for an academic read, this is not going to be the book for you. I really did enjoy the academic side of it. If you're a history buff, if you like that time in history of World War II, I think that you would enjoy it, but you have to make sure that you're in the right mindset, or you're going to find that maybe it has a bit too slow of a start for you. All right, so now let's talk about when does this book take place? It takes place during the first year or two that Churchill was Prime Minister of England, so 1940 through 1941. England is the main setting, however, you do get some perspective of what was going on in Germany during that same time and a few glimpses of what was going on in America. When you get the American side, it's mostly focusing on the isolationist policies that were being promoted during the early years of World War II. Now, who does this focus on? Obviously, the main person is Churchill, but this whole thing, this is not like a biography of Churchill. This is really talking about his first couple years as Prime Minister, and with that, it is entailing everybody that's around him as well. Sorry if you can hear my dog. It talks about Churchill, but a whole host of other people, including his wife and his children and his closest advisors. You get to know them, I feel like, almost as well as you get to know Churchill, which I was pretty pleased with. I didn't know anything about his family or his advisors so really at all, and that was quite fascinating to hear their perspectives. All right, what is this about? Again, it is about the first couple years as Churchill, as he was stepping into this new role of Prime Minister. It starts off with us learning how he became Prime Minister of England, and then it really is just nonstop full of events that were taking place in England, in Germany, a little bit in America during that 1940 through 1941 time period. And it talks about triumphs and defeats that England encountered during that time frame, both in England and on the other fronts in Africa. Mainly is the other place that they talk about some of their triumphs and defeats. It does focus a bit on the Royal Air Force and how they were able to combat, or sometimes not combat, the German Air Force and the technology and the advances of aviation during that time, which I was not expecting but was very fascinated by. We do get some glimpses into Germany, as I said, but mostly it's focusing on how did the German government twist and turn what was actually happening in the war to promote their agenda and make it seem like they were doing better, or villainizing Churchill and his people to make themselves look better. Yeah, that's the only way to really put that. And then again, occasionally we get a bit of an insight into America and how the isolationist policies were affecting our relationship with England at the time. Okay, so things that I liked about this. I really liked getting to know the character and the force that was Churchill. I felt like I knew some basic facts about him prior to reading this, but not nearly to the depth that I do after. And that gave me a much deeper and clearer picture of who he was as a leader, especially at the beginning of his time as prime minister. I also really liked getting to know his family. His children are fascinating. I was very surprised by their stories and some things that stood out about them and their character, which I won't get into because I think that it's fascinating to see it unfold as you read this story. But one of my favorite things from the whole book is the fact that Erik Larson heavily included quotes from the journals and diaries of mass observationists at the time. So mass observationists were people that were essentially hired and recruited to keep diaries and journals of their daily life during the war. And so you really get to feel what the common person in England was thinking and how everything appeared to them during these tremendous moments in history. And I also really liked the fact that by using those mass observationist quotes, it started to make it feel more like narrative nonfiction than just a textbook. Because I'm not a fan really of reading textbooks, but I am a fan of reading books like this. I did also like to see how the German government was sort of twisting and molding what was really happening to promote them and to make them look good in the eyes of their people. And as a history lover, again, I teach social studies, history is kind of my thing. I really loved getting to see the in-depth look at Churchill and the London Blitz and everything that happened during the beginning part of his time in office. All right, so a few things that I wish were different about this book. One of the things that I wish was different is that sometimes this book got a little bogged down with too much detail. I'm a fan of detail. I think it adds to the story in a lot of places, but there were a few chunks throughout the book that I wished that maybe Erik Larson had just pulled back a little bit on the detail and just moved us forward in the story, because it got a little too dense at times, even for me as somebody who enjoys history. And I do wish that we could have gotten a little bit more perspective from the American side and the German side. We did get that throughout the story, but not as much as I would have enjoyed. I say that because when I read Dead Wake by Erik Larson, again, you got a lot of perspective from what was happening on the Lusitania, because it's about the sinking of the Lusitania, but you got almost equal measures of perspective from what was happening on the German U-boat that sank the Lusitania, and I really liked that balance. Sometimes I just was left wanting more from those other perspectives, and I get it because this is focused on Churchill. We weren't going to get too much of those other people, but I wanted just like a little bit more. All right, and last but not least, what is my star rating? So if 5 stars is the best and 1 star is the worst, I would give this a 4 out of 5 stars. It is not my favorite Erik Larson book that I've read, but I still really, really enjoyed it. I think if you are a history buff, you love learning about World War II, you're interested in learning more about Churchill and the people around him, I think that this could be the book for you. If you're looking for something that is detailed and full of facts and information, this could be the book for you. If you're not looking for those things, I don't think this would be the book for you. I'm hoping to make a video in the next month or so recommending different Erik Larson books as well as other nonfiction books that may appeal to even the non-history lover in you. But again, if you're a history lover, if you love learning about Churchill and you love learning about World War II, I think that you should pick up The Splendid and The Vile. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of the day. If you have nonfiction recommendations, books you think I would love, leave them in the comments below. And if you've read this book, let me know what you think. I will talk to you later, guys. Bye.